All right, so we're going to go over the trades from today, starting the week in the green, which is great. Finished last week, Friday, with a red day. I actually had 2 red days last week, 3 green days, 2 red days. Finished the week in the green, certainly, but I did have 2 red days, so I felt like last week was a little bit slow. In fact, I was taking a little scoreboard of my rating for each of the days. Last Monday, I rated as a 4, Tuesday is a 2, this is on a scale of 1 to 10. 0. Well, technically, I don't know if it's 1 to 10 or 0 to 10. Anyways, Wednesday was a 2 or a 3. Thursday was a 2. Friday was a 1. Friday, the leading gapper was less than 30%. That was terrible. And Thursday, the leading gapper was also only 33%. So as we sit right now, the leading gainer in the whole market is DATS, which is up 50%. It just squeezed up here and then rejected pretty hard, pretty heavy selling volume here. Not surprising since that's right underneath the 200 moving average, but nonetheless, a rejection on that. Today, when I sat down and when I pulled up my phone early, we did have a couple of gappers that were nice in percentage gap, but they were a little too cheap and they were just like trading sideways. They had popped up and then they weren't moving. So there was nothing to trade there. One of the things that we've seen quite a bit of is this sort of jackknife whipsaw where something will be in consolidation and then it breaks out and then it flushes right back down, or it flushes down and then rips right back up. And it feels like these are traps, bull traps and bear traps. That, I don't know, market makers or big players out there are somehow kind of instigating, and it creates a burst of liquidity. All of a sudden, a lot of volume comes in, traders get shaken out, people buy and sell. But it's not easy to trade at all. The easier places is at the front side of the move when something is really opening up. Or, we have a move up, it pulls back, goes sideways, and then goes for a true second leg higher. But I can't remember the last time we really had a stock that went crazy. It's been several weeks since before the holidays. Everything we've had since the holidays has been kind of slow, a little bit this and that, but nothing big. So today, I did get green, and I would give today, initially, when I sat down, I was like, again, it's like a 1 or a 2. There's nothing. These gap scanners, the stocks that are on them just aren't that great. We have stocks that are gapping up, but they're going sideways. There's nothing to trade. So upon initially looking at the gap scanner, I was like, oh, we've got a 70% gapper. That's good. But then once I looked at the chart, I was like, well, there's nothing to trade on it. So around 7:30, 8 a.m., I was like, yeah, today's like a 1 or a 2. And that changed pretty quickly with a couple of different trades. So I traded 2 stocks this morning. I traded bets again, and I traded ELAB. So we'll look at bets first, since that was my first trade of the day. This one hit the high day Momo scanner. And, I actually had pulled it up. It's on my continuation scanner. So I took a look at it this morning, and I was just glancing through continuation stocks. I was like, oh yeah, there's bets there. So I was like, I'll take a look at that. So I did look at it this morning, and then I was like, well, there's nothing to trade. There's no volume. Anyways, right at about 8:10, it starts squeezing up from 450 to 5, 550 to 6. Or, well, actually, not quite to 6. It hit a high of 560. In any case, it made a pretty big move. And I jumped in this on a micro pullback. I'll actually show you on a 10-second chart where I got in this one. Made about 900 and then gave back 200 off the top. Up $757 on it. So you'll see this yellow arrow right here. This was my entry right there. So that's where I bought. So basically it springs up, pops up quickly, and it goes sideways. And I bought that micro pullback. All right, so that's fine. Micro pullback, I'm in right there. It goes up to a high of 45. I booked $1,000 of profit basically in that candle. It drops back down, and then it makes its way back up. As you can see here, it comes all the way back up to a high of 560, but topping tail. Couldn't hold that level. So, unfortunately, topping tails on this too. It was like hitting 545, 548 on the ask, but then it was like 530 on the bid. So a little bit of a spread. Not easy to trade. Ended up retracing. Not shocked. I didn't go big on it. I wasn't sure it was really going to hold up too well anyways. So that was my first trade. So broke the ice, put myself in the green on bets, which is great. Okay, so $757. But of course, if you recall, I was right on Friday. So, digging myself out of the hole a little bit. So then I'm sitting here and we had LAES, by the way, that hit the scans. It popped up earlier, really choppy. It kind of popped up, sold off, came back up. It's sort of grinding higher, but it is holding up relatively well, all things considered. The longer it holds up going into the close and the rest of the day, maybe we see a move higher the way we did on Friday on AUVI. But RVSN, this was the one that was up 70% pre-market. Sort of had this ascending support level right in here, but it broke. It broke down and it sold hard right through here. Pops up to VWAP, fades, up to VWAP, and fades again. So this just was not strong at all. It was very weak. A lot more opportunity to the sell side than to the long side. So that was RVSN. No trades on that. And then elab, ELAB, comes up. And I had to make a decision on this pretty quickly. Do I trade it in the small account or the big account? I've still got my small account challenge going. And when it first popped up, I saw it at about 250 as it hit my scans right around here. And I was like, well, all right, it's below $5, so I don't have leverage in the small account. But it's pretty cheap. I could buy it. So I sort of debated that. While I'm debating that, it goes to 280, 290 to 3. And now I'm like, well, now it's getting a little... Now, on the one hand, it's definitely moving. So it's like it's the type I want to trade in the small account. But now I've also missed a good entry. And so now I'm switching over to my big account. And I'm like, where do I break the ice on this thing? And anyways, I ended up taking a trade on this one. I'll pull this up on a 10-second chart as well. Started watching the level 2. Started getting dialed in. And we had a micro pullback that I bought. And I got some profit on that. So I'll show you that trade. All right. So that was this yellow arrow right here. Micro pullback. So you can see how this is a proper micro pullback. Squeezes up. Pulls back for a minute under 350. Got long for the break of 350. It goes up to 399, 396. Pulls back. Goes up over 4 to 410. Pulls back. Goes up to 427. Not bad. Couple topping tails up here. Having a hard time holding this level. And this is relevant because if we looked at the daily chart, what you would see was that blue sky on this stock, meaning all-time highs, is right up here at about 424. High of this candle, 424. So we had some resistance up there, but man, look at this candle today. A huge red candle. So, I don't really know what to think. This looked like a nice ABCD pattern. I took a trade right in there. I lost on it. I was a little annoyed about that because it was like, this is a good pattern. The only thing I would say is maybe the 9 moving average was still a little bit too far away, but it wasn't bad. And then this nasty rejection right here. So if we look at that on the 1-minute chart, you'll see it drop below VWAP, which is bearish, not great. Comes back up, makes a new high, and then dumps from here, goes to 38, and then drops all the way down to 350. So like an 80-cent drop in 3 minutes. And it happened, it was fast. And then that was it. It was over. At that point, it was like this candle sort of ruined it. Unfortunately. And, so I didn't take any more trades on it. Tried to come up a little bit. Wasn't confident. Didn't think it would be able to reclaim the high of that candle. And then it sort of broke VWAP and began this really steady, strong sell-off. Here's one thing that was interesting about this. When the move began pre-market, one of the things that made me cautious about it was that immediately there were big sell orders out. Immediately, literally. So like 20,000 shares at 50, 20,000 shares at 75, 20,000 shares at 3, 20,000 shares at 350, 20,000 shares at 380, 20,000 shares at 4, 50,000 shares at 425. And I was like, thinking to myself, I'm like, for what it's worth, if I put an order out right now, if I put an order on a stock like, ELAB, whatever. So number one, if I put an order out on this, I'll just do like 150 shares just to show you. That order is going to be canceled by the end of the day unless I set it as good till cancel. Okay, so if I set it as a good till cancel order, right down there, that order is only going to work during regular trading hours from 9:30 until 4 p.m. So this is super obnoxious, but what it means is that the stock could rip or could go well below my buy order, and my order will not fill because these orders are not pre-market or after hours. Yet somebody before the news came out, or basically, I don't know, because I wasn't watching it before the news came out, someone already had hundreds of thousands of shares of sell orders already lined up. And I thought that seemed quite suspicious. And I was curious where those are coming from. Maybe a regulator will look at that and wonder the same thing. Maybe not. I don't know. But someone was just selling into this move. So yeah, but even in spite of that, it kept going higher, which I was also like, all right, I mean, it's going higher. I guess it's going higher, but it gave me a little bit of pause as I was first looking to get in. And, but then the thing is, these sell orders were just coming back, and it's like they were just holding it down. So I don't know who's selling. Somebody's selling. Someone's selling a lot of shares. Maybe we'll see later today or tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe we'll see that there was an offering, priced right at the market, and the company sold shares into this move. Maybe we'll see. And if they had a shelf registration, and that's perfectly, within the, within the rules to do that. Because if the shelf, we can go ahead and check. So let's see. ELAB. It's new. The thing is, this is a new company because it's an IPO. Amended. Yeah, this is going to be a little confusing. So it's going to be a little different because it's, a company that's been around for a long time. These type of companies will often have a shelf registration. Right. Okay. Recent sales of unregistered securities. So I'm not going to go through this whole thing right now, but we'll keep an eye on the headlines on this in the coming days to see if there's see if we get any news that sort of confirms my suspicion about this stock. But no doubt there was a lot of selling pressure. I mean, that's the only way you have a stock that gaps up 120%, but then it's the selling imbalance. There's more sellers than there are buyers. Now, this could be hot market, cold market stuff. In a hot market, we might see, this kind of move and it just go bananas up to $15 or $20 a share. And maybe right now buyers are just a little bit more cautious and conservative, but I don't think that explains it entirely. I think there are some stocks just have that strong imbalance to the sell side because there's either insiders selling or the company's selling or somebody is selling. Now, some of these companies get, really bent out of shape about, so look at this. This is going to be red on the day at this rate. There's a 30,000 share seller up there. So it's only up 1% now. It's retracing the entire move. So some of these companies get really bent out of shape about what they think is illegal naked short selling. We know from the Wall Street, what was the name of the documentary about GameStop? I can't remember, but the confession from one of these guys on the inside that they were doing naked short selling every day of the week for years and years and years. That's what they do. Like, yeah, of course it happens. He's like, this is literally what we do. We have a button to override to just give people the shares to borrow. We'll figure it out later. And, it's in the interest of making money. So that, the fact is, if you give someone the ability to sell, let's say, 500,000 shares, and they're able to just keep putting the sell order out there, what's crazy about this, at least, to me, is the fact that they're, rather than actually getting shares and borrowing them from someone who owns them, they're just like almost printing sell orders. They're just like, yeah, you want to just press the sell button 100 times for 50,000 shares? No problem. And you could just bury a stock like that by just continuing to sell. Now, the thing is, you would figure, what happens when you have to buy, right? Are you going to jam it right back up? Well, with this in the case of this stock, this now has at this point in the day 42 million shares of volume. So it continues to grind, right? It's continuing to generate volume. People are actively trading it. I don't know why. I'm not touching it, but people are. I've seen some people in chat saying they're just trading it, scalping it, with thinkorswim for 2 cents here, 2 cents there, and 10,000 shares. So people are actively trading it. So now there's liquidity. So with this liquidity, I guess they might be able to start to unwind some of that position in the same day, even, which is kind of wild if they were really short. The alternative is that they really think the stock is going to go bankrupt and they are never going to have to cover, which this is kind of where it seems like it's sort of cheating the system. But if you are allowed to borrow an infinite number of shares and you can hammer a stock down lower and lower and lower and lower and it goes bankrupt, then, yeah, wouldn't you just sort of never have to cover? Like, I don't know. It just seems it's not fair. It's not right. But we know it happens. And so, in this one, you could say, oh, why didn't you join the winning team and just trade to the short side? Well, of course, there's a number of reasons for that. ZJY, what was it? ZJYL was probably the biggest wake up call to short sellers, to have a stock that halted up at $25 a share and then resumed at 500. You could lose your house on a trade like that. I never, ever, ever want to empower one trade to ruin my career. Unfortunately, that can happen when you're trading to the short side, because of, even if this is a black swan anomaly event, it's an anomaly that could have taken millions of dollars away from you. If you were short 10,000 shares, or any reasonable position, which I pretty much am always in, it'd be devastating. So that's number one. And this is just sort of the latest. I haven't been shorting for a long time, and it's not because this wasn't the reason until I just saw it happen with my own eyes, and I was like, whoa. I just watched people lose millions of dollars as that opened at 500. So that's one thing that's just most recent. As you know, I trade in a retirement account, which means these gains right here, $3,400, no tax. That is tax free. The retirement account that I use, I've had retirement accounts at Interactive Brokers, thinkorswim, and Lightspeed. These three brokers all offer what's called settlement margin. You don't get any leverage with a retirement account. And the reason you don't get leverage is because you are prohibited from contributing more than the limit to your retirement account each year. So if you got a margin call, to meet the margin call, you would have to contribute more money, which would nullify the structure of that retirement account. So to make it so you could never, ever get a margin call in a retirement account, they do not let you use leverage, and they do not let you short stocks, and they don't let you write naked options, which is good. It has to be like cash secured, all cash secured or spreads. So in a retirement account, I simply cannot trade to the short side. Now I could buy puts if I really wanted to trade something to the short side, I suppose, but that wouldn't be an option for most of the small caps anyways. So of course I don't do that. So that's the second reason that I'm not shorting. Now in the small account, it's not a tax-free account. So in the small account, if I wanted to short, I could short, but I would remain with the issue that unlimited loss, big risk. And then number two is both the availability of shares to borrow and the cost to borrow shares. Because essentially, especially with a small account, I'm already paying a lot in fees. And those fees go even higher once you have to pay additional fees to reserve shares for every trade you take. So, right now we're definitely in a market where there's been some great reward trading to the short side, and, it's tempting. And right before I saw ZJYL, I was like, I don't know, maybe I should just take some trades to the short side and just why fight it, right? but that's kind of the thing is I'm a late I'm like a late adopter of things. So by the time I'm adopting something, it is like it's probably like the trend's almost over. Um, so I'm just like by the time I'm going to short, like the next day, you're going to have a stock that blows up every short seller. When your grandparents are shorting stocks, and that's when I'm joining them too. That's when it's time to stop shorting stocks. So I think that I'm just a little late on it. Look, if I didn't short stocks during the entire bear market of 2022 or 2023, why would I start now, right when the market's getting ready to, well, it's kind of right at the all-time highs. So anyways, it's fine. I think most traders do view the market with a bias, either to the long side or the short side. I certainly have a long bias, and I make good money with that. So I don't know. I don't need to fix what's not broken, but no doubt ELAB was a big fade today. So some kind of weird stuff there. We'll probably never really know exactly who those sellers were, but yeah, kind of funny. And yeah, DATS, it's up 82%. So that right now is our leading gainer. The thing is, I looked at it earlier. It's on short sale restriction, but I just kept seeing that 200 moving average. And I was like, well, it needs to get over that. So listen, the 200 is at 22, approximately 422. If we could get over that and hold over that, then, maybe you do have more room. It's got a pretty low float. It's obviously moving. It's holding up. So that's what you need to see in order for things to get interesting going into the afternoon. But I also don't feel the need to overstay my welcome. Hey, look, $3,400. Is that enough? Is that a good day? I'd say it's a pretty great day. So that's where I'm going to finish today. And I'll have a new episode of the Small Account Challenge series coming soon. So you guys will be able to tune in for that. Thank you for those of you guys who have already watched those episodes, who have hit the thumbs up, who are helping me unlock my new piece of inventory, because this monitor that I've been using here is just, I'm so ready to not be using it as my main trading screen. And when I sat down this morning, I was like, not again. So I'm really looking forward to that. So thank you guys for tuning in. And I'll remind you, as always, that trading is risky. My results are not typical, and there's no guarantee you'll find success. Whether you trade on your own, you'll learn from me. So really, take it slow. The market will be here for you. All right, I'll see you back at it first thing tomorrow morning.